Are you sure? All right, let me. No, we're not. We're literally not. Look. All right, let me refresh. We're literally not live. Okay, now we're live. All right, let me. No, we're not. Okay. We're literally. You just told them my name. Friends with Snake is right. Snake was right. I'm sorry. For 10 and a half years. And we've been arguing basically that entire time. And now we're going to argue for profit. Yeah, except we're not making money off of this. We're just arguing for attention. And yeah, exactly. Someday this will profit into like $1 or something, and we'll be really proud. And so Taylor and Snake and I have a rivalry because Snake. Now you're even, Snake. Okay. We have a rivalry because Snake is an atheist and I'm an agnostic, and we're finally gonna go head to head about this. So you guys get to watch for your enjoyment. Yes, I am a debate coach and a program manager and a tournament coordinator. And I have coached debate from high school all the way down to 8-year-olds. And I've actually only debated myself once against a bunch of 12-year-olds. So this is my first time actually practicing what I preach. Yeah, so, and Snake apparently does a lot of debates and all of the time, so this should be fun. This should be fun. Snake, take it away. Can we at least do like the introductions the formal way, and then we can just kind of wing it from there? Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to put the timer on for 5 minutes. Do you want to start since you're the government? Oh, and the motion that we are debating is this house believes that there is no reason to believe in God or gods. Is that correct, Snake? Snaky Snake. Okay. That is the shortest debate of all time. All right. Thank you, audience, for watching our debate. Yep. Okay. All right. You ready? POI is a point of information in which you can interrupt a speaker during their speech during formal debates. We are going to be doing a butchered sort of cross version of parliamentary, public forum, just open discussion, whatever we feel like. But we're kind of starting off in more of a parliamentary way, and POIs are when you want to interrupt each other. So, yeah. All right. Does that mean that it is my time to begin? All right. Thank you very much, honorable speaker, as well as honorable judges who are watching our YouTube video. The motion that we are discussing today is this House believes that there is no reason to believe in God or gods. My opponent, Snake, has spent the majority of their speech discussing why the current arguments. Am I speaking? What? Was that a POI? What's going on? You can't hear me? Oh, I win!
Hold on.
I think you just knew you were about to lose, and so you decided to chicken out. That's what I think happened. Back, 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 back,
Okay. Now it should be working.
Do I have to?
Apologies to everyone who had to go through that.
You're not forgiven, Snake.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Should I start over now?
Um, well, since no one could hear me, I'll just recap.
Wait, no one could hear your entire speech?
No.
What?
Yep.
How do you know?
I saw the chat. Thank you for people who stayed in the chat. I guess I'll just go again.
Okay, yeah, you can go again.
Yeah. Slight
Cheater.
technical difficulties always happen when going live. Okay. Abridged version. I'll try and do it real quick. There's no reason to believe in anything, any proposition at all, until a valid reason is given.
Wait, no one
We
can hear your entire speech.
and we don't have that for God or any gods. So I went over the cosmological argument where the universe has a beginning, then it's assumed that a God exists and can create universes. That's the premise too, and therefore the cause of that universe is God. So that's fallacious. Because the conclusion is assumed in the premise. The anthropic principle of fine tuning, that's also got major problems. It's based on the God of the gaps fallacy, and even if we somehow got past the God of the gaps fallacy, God still does not explain any of the hows, where science does. We have explanations for lots of aspects of the universe and why life is there and why life is the way it is. There's the puddle analogy where the water conforms to the hole in the road, not the hole in the road conforms to hold the puddle. So life finds where it can, within the parameters it can. And some of the cosmological parameters, the fine-tuning argument is essentially that all the cosmological constants are so finely tuned that if they were changed a little bit, life would not exist. But there are many of them that could be finely tuned to allow more life. There's also the morality principle, which, if we're going to go with divine command, a lot of the times it's argued there are objective moral principles, therefore God exists. And that doesn't work because God is still dependent upon moral justificationism, which would be outside of him, or else it would be arbitrary. And free will does not work either because free will does not exist. So, not in the libertarian philosophical sense. So I will stop there. And you already explained POIs. People could hear you then. So go ahead.
All right. Once again, thank you, Honorable Speaker Snake, and our honorable judges in the audience. My name is Cinematic Psychology, and I am here to prove that Snake was right, is going to lose this debate. So I want to remind the audience what the motion that we are actually discussing here, which is this House believes that there is no reason to believe in God or gods. Snake's arguments have been extremely specific in nature towards logical justifications for why certain groups or certain people might choose to believe that God exists. However, the emotion that we are discussing is far more general than that. And any belief whatsoever towards any god or any gods, whether formally or informally. So, Snake has completely neglected to discuss the benefits and internal reasons for believing in God, whether or not these are logical. The fact of the matter is, currently now, there are many unanswered questions about the universe far beyond human comprehension. And these questions will remain unanswered in our lifetime. As human beings, we have a shopping cart of beliefs to choose from, unending, and we can choose whatever we want to believe in. So, why do we have no justification for choosing to believe in God or gods? The fact of the matter is that believing in religion or believing in a God, both formally and informally personal, has had multiple benefits throughout history. In fact, it was the organized religion of Christianity that put an end to female homicide, human sacrifices, many brutalities. It has been proven through multiple scientific studies that people who belong to organized religions are happier, live longer, and suffer from less anxiety. It has also been proven that people who subscribe to religious beliefs have, at least in non-religious cultures, a greater sense of internal morality and sort of internal negotiators for how they navigate the world. People often blame religion for cultural flaws, but the fact is, religion is a mirror for our culture. It takes in the cultural values and it puts it into a doctrine and it adopts to that. All flaws that we see in religion are simply a lag between our current beliefs as a culture and the religion itself, which is constantly trying to catch up and constantly changing. Here's the fact. Human beings are prone to worship. It is in our nature. We do not need to believe in a God or gods to do this. If we do not have a God or God, we will believe in other things. We will worship idols. We will worship nationalism. We will worship money. But the difference is, if we choose to worship God or gods, we have a direct and singular communication with the object of our worship that outside influencers cannot influence. This, in fact, gives us more agency over the things that we worship in comparison to if we were worshiping something in the outside world, such as a country, dictator, cult leader, etc. Furthermore, if we turn to organized religion that has been going on for centuries and centuries, that is centuries of fine-tuning and knowledge of the human experience and the human condition that it has to pull from to give us the wisdom that people for thousands of years have experienced as well. This is of value, and that cannot be denied. So I ask you, how can you truly say that we have absolutely no reason to choose to believe in God or gods? Sure, of course, there are many restrictions and faults with organized religion. However, we have the freedom to choose and pick whatever we want to believe. So I've told you this before, Snake, as you know, that when it comes to faith, it's not something that you can comment on from an outside perspective because faith is an emotion similar to falling in love. How can you say to somebody who's experienced faith that it's not valid and it's not important when it's important and significant to them as well? You might not believe it, and it might not even be true. But let me ask you this, Snake. There's a difference between sex and masturbation, but if you masturbate, you're still coming, right? And with that, I'm going to close my argument.
Wow, that was very deep. Okay, so are we doing a rebuttal now?
No, we do open discussion. So we can set the timer for open discussion, and then we can just kind of figure out what happens after that. So.
All right. So I forget the definition of reasons that we agreed upon, but I recall it being that that a reason means reasonable, which means having logical justification for something.
So, Snake, if you were studying your World School Styles Judge Handbook, you would understand that it's the responsibility of the first speaker to set definitions. And if they don't set definitions, then it's up to the opposition to set definitions. And you did not set your definitions.
Boo.
Not that anyone cares, but.
Doing it now.
Well, it's too late because I already did.
Okay. So. I repeat my definition now because
are we going to spend this entire? Are we going to have a definitional debate now?
It may come down to that because, that's what I'm working from is. If you have no reasons, it's not reasonable, which means you don't have logical justification. So the the only reason I did here is basically personal lifestyle / happiness, which is a practical reason, but it's not reasonable. It's because just because something makes you happier does not mean that you have logical justification to believe it.
If I'm hungry, I have reason to go to the store and buy some food. That's a reason.
But you might not have a reason to go to McDonald's specifically.
Yeah, but we're not arguing about a specific chain restaurant of religions. We're arguing about religion in general.
But even if we were to grant that happiness is a reason to believe in God, it's far outweighed by the harm that religion does on society. Um, which, and I believe that happiness is kind of a shallow happiness, which prevents us from pursuing an even greater happiness. And working on our own happiness, it just kind of shifts the responsibility onto something we can't even study. It's just within ourselves anyway. And she disconnected. So I'll just I'll use this time to kind of expand on my point for the audience. And she's back.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So, Taylor, Snake, I would have to firmly disagree that you believe that religion causes more harm than the shallow happiness that it creates, when I would rather argue that religion is a scapegoat towards the evil of human nature. We do not need religion for any of the follies of religion. Rather, religion is simply a failed attempt at negating that evil. We are perfectly capable of doing terrible things as a society and as individuals without a religion justification. That religion is simply a tool to try to counteract that, which sometimes succeeds and sometimes fails.
So, but even with the so-called atheistic ideologies like communism, it takes this religious point of view where the authority figure is never wrong, or the
Exactly. That
authority
exactly comes back to my point that
of
humans are inclined to worship, as I said in my speech.
yeah, well, the authority of the revolution cannot be questioned, which is
Exactly.
you said that religion is a mirror to the flaws of society, where I would argue that it's a magnifying glass because it provides you the worst but most powerful possible justification for bad behavior, which is God wills it. So if you
I would
have
disagree because religion gives you an individual ability to communicate with the higher power in comparison to external forces where you have to only be the receptor. Because you have this sort of internal figure, that actually gives you more agency, which is why religions evolve and change over time.
but they stunt that any personal growth that a society collectively could have, because you have organized groups of people saying no, God says something else. So if you have a cultural tendency that's flawed, then you're going to have that same culture saying this is willed by God, and so that culture is going to have a stunted tendency to be able to get over those flaws
But
because
how could you
it's
say that when
further
religion itself is
enshrined.
not stagnant, but religion is constantly changing? I mean, Christianity, what it meant 1,000 years ago, is drastically different from what it is today. All right, Taylor, Snake. Sorry. Should we put 5 minutes on the clock for you to have your own time to speak, or do you want to just keep doing free discussion?
We can just keep doing free discussion.
But then, how do we know when the debate's over?
You're so structured. Whenever we feel like it.
I win.
Whenever you concede, that's when it ends.
We're gonna literally be doing this for the rest of our lives. Then.
Yeah. We could look to the chat for a second.
Okay, yeah, let's look at the chat.
If they've said anything.
No, I don't really
No.
see any feedback. Is anyone still watching?
Yeah, there's still people.
There's still people.
Chat,
Okay.
say some stuff, and then we'll say it on the thing. But anyway.
Anyway. I think we should. I think I want to give you the floor again, if
Okay.
you're okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want 5 minutes or 3, or how much time do you want?
It'll probably be closer to 3.
All right, let me put the timer for 3. Okay. Ready, set, go.
So, um, based on the definition of reason as having a logical justification, I don't think you have any case at all, because just because some belief makes you happier is not a rational justification. It is not reasonable, and therefore there is no reason to believe it.
POI?
Yes.
The concept of faith in general implies that you need a lack of logical justification.
Correct.
So you're calling an orange an orange.
Yeah, it is. If there were reasons and proofs and evidence, you wouldn't need to call it faith. You don't have faith in chemistry because you can just go do it.
Yeah, but you have faith in other concepts. Okay, now we're just getting into we're getting into free discussion. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll let you talk.
We can talk about faith. It's a good direction, but even if we say take the weaker form of reason, as in any cause that has good consequences, I guess. In the larger picture, again, there's still going to be way more harm caused by religion than just giving people kind of this shallow assurance that everything is in the hands of some all-powerful being, that they're going to live forever. It's kind of just living in delusion, and you can do that and it'll make you temporarily happy, but if a delusion is making you happy, I think we can agree that it's better to live in the real world, even if it's shitty, than to live in a delusion, especially when this delusion prevents you from improving the real world if you actually engaged in the real world.
POI.
Uh-huh.
Okay. First of all, religions become a part of the real world when people believe in it, therefore influencing it, and influencing it intentionally for the better.
Except that influence is usually, religions usually lag behind the intelligentsia or the cultural progress, where religion has to find a way to fit that in, typically.
POI?
Yeah.
Isn't that culturally superior in terms of individualism to assume that cultural progress is based on your own experience?
I'm not sure what that means.
Well, I just ate up all your time. Do you want me to explain it with my time?
Sure.
Okay. All right. This is a very messy mix of formal and informal, but hey, we're figuring it out. Thanks for your patience, audience.
We're both moderating and debating at the same time.
I know. And I can't stop laughing. All right. Okay. Do I have to do 3 minutes as well since you did 3 minutes? Because I feel like I want to talk for longer than that.
Yeah, you got to go even.
Fine. Okay. All right. So what I mean by that is that you're saying that religion is lagging behind cultural intelligence of our time, but that is an inherent assumption that your culture, specifically secular culture, is the culture of our times, when in fact the majority of the world is religious. We are in fact the minority, not the majority. So it is not necessarily lagging behind. It's just different. I would like to...
Well, she has been banished by satanic magic.
Hear me again? Okay, I'm back.
There you are.
Go ahead. Go ahead with your snaky POI.
I have summoned you back, I guess. Are the majority of religions today reflective of how they originally were in their set in stone holy books?
POI accepted, no, they're not, which proves my point that religion is a living, evolving organism that is constantly changing over time with its people. That does not mean that it necessarily needs to be inherently discarded because of this. Moreover, you make the claim that religion does more harm than good, but I think you seriously overestimate the independent nature of human beings. Religion is sort of the cultural government that has established who we are. So let's look at the case for women specifically, because let's look at Christianity, which is often chided for being anti feminist and regressive. And let's look at its influence over women over the course of history. Before Christianity was a dominant religion, females were often sacrificed. Infanticide was rampant because females were considered less worthy than men. Moreover, it was considered women were considered property, and this was not necessarily due to religion, but rather due to weaknesses physically that they were able to be pushed around and bartered with. During the Dark Ages, or was this the Middle Ages? Oh my God, I don't know. But in terms
Ancient.
of Arthur's time, chivalry was being promoted through the church to try to encourage knights to treat women as human beings through protectiveness, through gentleness. And this is how we define modern romance through the church itself. Without that, women would probably still be treated as property today. So and then in the Victorian era, women were once again elevated through the church by being told that they could be valuable Christians who could bring the church into their home life, once again, bringing up their stature within society. So you might say that Christianity is anti-feminist because it doesn't match up with our current ideals, but if you could say blankly over time that religion has only caused harm, that would be absolutely and completely absurd. The moral standpoints that we're even using to define this conversation are largely based off of Christianity, and we aren't even necessarily aware of that because it's so ingrained in what we consider right and wrong. So that was not enough time, and now I'm sad because I want more time to hear myself talk. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll go for 5 minutes, and I'll concede if I don't go that long.
No, it's okay. Let's go to free discussion.
Okay, so yes, there are individual thinkers in religion, and they allow for these debates, but since these were not ideas that were in the scriptures and were not originally in the religions, they came from outside of the religion and were adopted by the religions, and the churches were being used to propagate these messages, but that just means that any institution could have done it.
POI? Wait, I don't even have to POI because free discussion. What?
Correct. You just interrupt me.
I could just interrupt you. Yeah. So you say that any institution could propagate these same ideals, but the fact is that religion is so much more close to home and therefore much more influential. People live, breathe religion constantly every day of their lives. Therefore, it is more effective in influencing social and moral norms.
But it's just putting this useless layer over the debate. Instead of just debating the ethics of something, you have to go through, well, did God say it's okay? Is it in the Bible? And if the debate lands on the wrong answer, then you're going to have to battle against the Word of God to get it changed.
You could say the same thing about the American Constitution, but are you going to suggest that we should just throw out the Constitution and use anarchy? Actually, you might do that.
Yeah. That's why I'm so mad that I'm the government right now.
Yeah, that's true. You probably would do that.
But it's easier to amend the Constitution. We've done that than it is to overturn the Word of God.
Fair enough, but there are still many aspects of the Bible that are just disregarded because they're irrelevant by today's standards. Like, I'm wearing a clothing with mixed fabric right now, but I don't think I could find a single Christian who would be upset about it.
Exactly. So it's kind of this irrelevant layer on top of things that just kind of gets in the way and just slows down progress that is in the culture anyway.
But by doing that, you're disregarding his influence on what the culture actually came from to begin with. Our entire history is based off of religion, and we're not alone in that. So it's almost like spitting on your father and saying your father did more harm than good when your father is the one who taught you everything that you know.
Well, if my father taught me slavery was okay and women shall not teach and to dash the little ones on the walls
Well, the
and to
emancipators
cut
were
off.
largely motivated by Christianity. They were one of the greatest Christian forces in history.
So were the slaveholders.
So what do we
Both
call that?
sides both sides claimed to have the backing of God, and so the debate really just shifted to the logic of and the ethics of slavery, and so the Bible just didn't really help
Well, who taught us ethics in the first place?
ourselves.
Ourselves through a book that categorized it throughout history, and not just Christianity either. Christianity does not exist in a vacuum. It came from the religion of stealing from paganism, stealing from Greek gods, stealing from Romanism. This is how humans learn to navigate uncertainty, come up with moral rules, and reconcile the fact that there might or be an afterlife and deal with that. So this is more than just, is the Bible good or bad? This is an intrinsic part of human evolution and human nature that you're trying to claim cause more harm than good.
Yeah, because all any of the progress that any religion makes is from people either challenging the current conception of the religion or challenging someone else's religion and making their own, which can be done without religion.
Well, the motion was discussing there's no reason to believe in God or gods. We weren't even discussing the question of religion itself. In fact, belief in God or gods goes even deeper than religion, and you can actually find that through looking at the human evolution before humans were Homo sapiens in general. They had signs of spirituality. Furthermore, there's a gene. Let me look up the specific name of this gene. I'm sure someone in the audience knows what this gene is called. La 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 la. The MAT2 gene that has actually been linked to a higher likelihood of believing in spirituality. So this is genetically linked to
So, but
us.
that's the naturalistic fallacy. There's genetics that urges people to want to like rape each other or murder each other or have just aggression. That
I'm
doesn't
not
mean
sure
it's
that's really
right.
an apt comparison.
Well, kind of, because just because something is you're genetically predilected towards something doesn't make it correct.
But it does make it a reason. If somebody is genetically predisposed to be depressed, that's a reason that they're depressed.
That's a cause. But if the definition of reason is rational justification, then no, you don't have that. So, Lord Pasta Productions, what's up? Says
What did they say?
the closeness seems to be a result of a social relation which does not need religion to form, or is the claim that it requires religion?
Closeness seems to be a result of a social relation which does not need religion to form, or is the claim that it requires religion? I'm not sure I understand this question.
I think he's referring to the closeness between the culture and the religion, their cultural values and religious values.
Okay. The closeness seems to be a result. Okay. So Lord Pasta is basically asking if I'm saying that culture required religion to form, or like culture wouldn't be able to be applicable without religion.
I think he's asking the ethics that are in the culture to form.
That's an interesting
Specify in the
question,
chat, Lord Pasta.
Lord Pasta. That's an
Yeah.
interesting question, but regardless, it's what happened.
Well, and he also makes a point about there's good and bad in all things. The point is always to eliminate the bad and keep the good in science, as it is with testing hypotheses, just as it is with morality. And I
And
agree,
that's
and
called religions evolving over time.
but the faith aspect makes it harder to take a scientific, rational look at the ethics that are happening, because you can just have anything, any random old proposition, and if it's backed by God, then it's fine. That's how new cults form. That's how you get um, Mormonism, polygamy. It's demanded by God. They don't
Okay,
question
let me
it.
ask you this, Snake. Let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this, and I want you to answer this honestly. Okay? Are you ready for me to ask you this? Because I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you ready? Okay. Here comes the question. If we were to wave a wand right now, and on Earth there'd be not a single person left who believed in God or gods, do you think that the world would have no more problems?
No,
I so
I didn't
there you
say
go.
religion is the only problem. It's
It's
definitely not.
just a mirror. Everything you hate about religion is that's just a mirror.
It's not, because it's a magnifying glass, because every problem in society is now enshrined as the highest possible holiness if it's through the lens of religion.
But we're not
Whereas
even
if it's
necessarily
just,
debating religion. Once again, we're debating there's no reason to believe in God or gods. If somebody believes in their own independent idea of God, as you know that I do, am I necessarily reflecting all of the evils of the world and magnifying it to the highest extent?
uh, not necessarily, but most gods are like that.
Didn't you earlier say that gods are omnibenevolent?
The Abrahamic ones are.
You're contradicting yourself, Snake.
What? They claim to be omnibenevolent.
But then you said that they're the magnifiers of all evils in society. So, Snake, which one are you claiming?
The idea that an omnibenevolent, all knowing, all powerful God agrees with my personal whatever, whatever it happens to be, is a dangerous idea, because it's only going to magnify the worst parts.
People are going to find that magnification no matter what. It's instinctual to try to find a group and belong to it,
But
whether
there's
that's a sports team or a nation, a philosophy, anything. It doesn't matter if it's religious.
but there's no greater way to magnify an idea than to say God supports it.
Once again, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself here. The God itself actually just acts as a self magnifier and allows you freedom to think for yourself in a way that worshiping something external does not.
So you think the idea of God allows more people to think for themselves than to follow the dogma?
Yeah, I do. You can actually look at it. It's intrinsically incorporated within the Jewish culture and ideology to constantly be questioning and researching on your own and interpreting it in your own way. That is one of the advantages of religion, is that it is in fact so open to interpretation.
That's not in the Bible I read, but
Who's the Jew here, Snake?
how many times have you read the Bible?
I have it pretty close. Ta-da! Do you want to just spend the rest of the debate reading the Bible? Oh my god, I'm
This
holding it
is
upside down.
now a Bible study.
Catholic!
I know. I should have gotten another one. Every time I hold this up, people are like, Catholic Bible. That's why you're an atheist.
I like how we just like randomly have Bibles both like within arm's reach.
All right, what's your favorite verse? Go.
Job, chapter 40, verse 3.
What's that?
Job said to the Lord.
Wow.
I know, right?
My favorite is Deuteronomy 23, verse 2.
And what
No
does it
one
say?
no one whose testicles have been crushed or whose penis has been cut off may come into the assembly of the Lord. Amen.
Amen.
So that's a good thing to have
Yes.
enshrined. You think
God
that
does
it
not fuck with
do you think
people
that
who have no balls.
improves people's open-mindedness or encourages division? And
How many wars have you seen fought over that verse? How much division have you actually seen that verse cause? Like, how many conflicts, how many like political arguments have you seen over God will not let people with no nuts into his kingdom?
but that kind of thinking,
Who actually thinks like that? Have you
well,
ever even met a single Christian who knows that verse and believes it in today's society? No.
yeah, because they pick and choose,
Exactly.
which
I
makes it
win. I
irrelevant.
win. You just conceded I win. Exactly. Exactly. Snake just lost the debate. Mm, 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 mm.
No, it makes the idea of religion irrelevant for most of the people who are reasonable and pick and choose. But then you get people like creationists and fundamentalists who are still stuck in the just the dogma, who otherwise would be forced to think for themselves.
Those creationists who are stuck in a dogma would find dogma anywhere. And for the people who are quote unquote feeling irrelevant about religion, you have no idea what that religion is on their side. Religion has been shown to actually have significantly positive increases in people's livelihoods, to the point where there's actually been studies that have linked a strong positive medical correlation between prayer and healing, both for people who pray for themselves and for people who are prayed for by other people.
That's just
So
the
there.
placebo effect. You can get
So
that from
what? Who
anything.
cares? Why does it matter?
Because again, you can get that from anything. You could replace religion with any institution
Yeah, but so you want to have people
for its good
pray
effects.
to who? To like Donald Trump? To Joe Biden? Like who are they praying for to get this placebo effect from?
The idea of prayer stunts humankind in
By
general.
helping people cope with the uncopable?
Yeah.
By helping people process things and meditate?
You can
By
just
helping people
meditate.
heal from diseases that stunts humankind?
You can just meditate and get placebos, and you don't need to have unreasonable, unjustifiable beliefs.
It's unreasonable and unjustifiable to yourself, but once again, you didn't pick that up from the shopping cart. You're like a person who doesn't eat broccoli because they don't like broccoli, so therefore you're like, broccoli is unreasonable.
I eat broccoli. It's
The
the
point is like,
fucking pickles that should be banned from planet Earth
okay,
because I don't like them.
the point is that you can't be objective about somebody else's experience and benefits that they get when you don't experience it for yourself.
But is it reasonable to believe it? Because you haven't actually given any reason why any of these beliefs are true, just that some delusion might have some placebo benefits.
I have given you a lot more reason. You have just committed a straw man fallacy, Snake. I have been explaining for like the last 50 minutes all of the benefits, both personal and societal, that religion has brought to us and torn down your arguments about how it's essentially useless. And yet, you have created the straw man fallacy of all I've done is had a few placebo effects. So, who's the fallacious one now, Snake?
You strawmanned me because I didn't say that. I said that you haven't given any reason to think that it's true that there are gods that exist.
Okay.
Just reasons that belief might have some kind of benefit, but no reason to believe that those beliefs are true.
So you are challenging me to give you objective, logical reasoning of why a god or gods exist.
Yes.
That is the burden that you put on me to win this debate.
Yes. That is what I mean by reason.
So I have to object, and once again, the burden should have been put on in the first speech. Someone's not studying debate because that burden is abusive. You are challenging me to a burden of proving the entire existence of the universe, which this has not been done either way throughout history in the period
No.
of what, like a 50-minute debate.
I'm
That
challenging
burden
you
is
to give
uneven, Snake.
I'm
That
challenging you
burden
to
is
give
uneven, and if we were doing that in a tournament, you would be disqualified.
how? Because I'm challenging you to give
Because
one
as the first
solid.
speaker, you have a responsibility to set fair and reasonable definitions and fair and reasonable burdens, and you have not done that.
Well, Miss Fancy Pants, I just want you to provide one piece of evidence that any god, any one god of all of the gods is real. You don't even
All
have
right,
to prove it. Just
you got it. Give me a
any
second.
any piece of evidence at all.
Sure, I'm coming for you. Let
You
me
don't
look it
even
up.
have to go as far
Silence
as
monster.
the um
All right. Lenschnack described a study on the effect of intersensory prayer on wound healing in non-human primate species. The sample comprised of 22 bush babies with wounds resulting from chronic self-injurious behavior. These animals were randomized into prayer and control groups that were similar at baseline. Prayer was conducted for 4 weeks. Both groups of bush babies additionally received L-tryptophan. Leinsack found that the prayer group animals had a greater reduction in wound size significantly and a greater improvement in hematological parameters than the control animals. This study is important because it was conducted on non-human species. Therefore, the likelihood of a placebo effect was removed.
wait, but they were given L-tryptophan?
Both monkeys were.
So that's probably the drug that they gave them, not the prayer.
But there was a statistically significant difference between the monkeys that were prayed for and the monkeys that were not.
Because they had a drug.
Both did.
But you said there was a control.
Both control and monkeys got the drug. The controlled monkeys were not prayed for.
Okay. Well, I'll have to take a look at what the prayer was, whether it's they were like giving close personal comfort to the monkeys, because I can see how you could substitute lullabies and that would aid in healing a sick animal.
All right, one moment. One moment, please.
Preponderance of evidence. That was what I was trying to think of.
All right. Uh, Tricha et al. Studied 219 consecutively infertile women ages 26 to 46 years old who were treated with in vitro fertilization in South Korea. These women were randomized into distant prayer and control groups, as in no one was in the room when prayer was conducted. Prayer was conducted by control groups in the United States, Canada, and Australia. The patients and their providers were not informed about the intervention. The investigators and even statisticians did not know the group allocations until all the data has been collected. Thus, the study was randomized, triple blind, and by design. The study found that women who had been prayed for had nearly twice as high a pregnancy rate than those who had not been. Furthermore, the women who had been prayed for show a higher implantation rate than those who had not been prayed for. Finally, the benefits of prayer were independent of clinical or laboratory providers and clinical variables. Thus, the study shows that distant prayer facility implantation in pregnancy. So those women were unaware that they were even being prayed for in the first place. So the theory of them being coddled and loved on, no.
So,
I'm
was
not
that
saying there's
cross
a
was
God.
that
I'm not
cross
saying it proves
faith?
that there's a God. You just asked me for one piece of evidence. I gave you two.
Well, it's not really evidence of a god. It could be evidence of psychic abilities.
Yeah, and you could have a nose on your head, or that could just be a very hard zit that grow. on your skull. The point is, there's always reason to doubt. You can doubt everything. These are not definitive answers.
But it's just too vague to see whether,
That's what
because
I've been arguing the whole time, is that these are things we are not going to know. So believe whatever you want.
but it's not reasonable to conclude a God from that evidence because there are other possibilities.
So pick whatever possibility you like.
Like, were there prayer groups from multiple religions? Maybe this is the first piece of evidence for psychic healing. And it has nothing to do at all with a God.
For it. Yeah, if that's what you want to believe, sure.
It's
These
not
are
about
open-ended questions.
No, because it would be unreasonable for me to believe that it was psychic abilities too. If I said, well, I believe that this is because of psychic powers. That would be unreasonable because we have no evidence that it was specifically psychic powers.
Do we have evidence for anything?
We have evidence that something is happening if the methods of the study were valid. But the fact that there are other possibilities, like if in the future they take these studies and they take it further and they prove that there are mutants who have psychic abilities and can remotely heal people, but it has nothing to do with a god, would you then go back and say that it was once evidence for God but is no longer evidence for God? Because
right,
now we know the actual cause?
Pull it back. Pull it back. Follow me here. Okay? All right. So we are not having a debate where you are debating a Christian and the Christian is trying to say that God exists. You are having a debate with an agnostic who says that you have the right to believe. There is a difference between knowing and believing.
I think you have the right to believe.
Silence monster. Silence monster.
Silence what?
Silence monster.
Monster?
You are a monster, snake.
Oh. Yeah. I'm a heathen.
All my friends are heathens. What can I say? So anyways, I believe that you are my friend because of the interactions that we have. Do I have any evidence? No. For all I know, that you're conspiring to ruin my life, and what? I don't know. But I believe that you're my friend, and okay, I have the right to believe that.
To vaguely quote Tim Minchin, friendship without evidence is just stalking.
So then you're basically saying friendship doesn't exist because there's no concrete evidence.
No, you have evidence.
Okay, what evidence?
Our entire relationship, and that I talk to you. We talk about things. If you talk to
somebody who's religious, they'll say that God talks to them too, and they have a relationship with them.
Yeah, but you can't. You can show me. I can appear on a show.
Half of the time your camera's not working, so maybe you're just an imaginary friend, and my foot hurts because I've been sitting on it weirdly.
I could be.
Yeah.
But that's unreasonable.
My foot hurts
propose so much. That
do you believe me when I say that my foot hurts, or do you think that I'm imagining that my foot hurts?
Your sensations are what they are.
Exactly.
But without outside study, there's no reason to believe that hearing voices in your head is actually a real phenomenon from an actual entity outside your mind.
My foot hurts so much. Oh my god.
What did you do?
God's will.
Okay. I prayed for your foot to hurt, and this is what happens when you unlock my psychic powers.
Yeah, okay. How was I going to relate that to the debate? I don't even remember. Okay. Yeah, so my foot hurts, and I'm experiencing that. Are you going to have to put me under an MRI machine to see if my brain receptors are receiving pain to believe me when I tell you that my foot hurts?
You can.
Are you going to bother with it?
We have studied pain receptors.
We can, but are you going to take my word for it or not?
Yeah.
You're living in faith. You have no reason to believe that.
No, because I have reason to believe people self-reporting their experiences. If
Mm-hmm.
someone says they hear God speaking to them, I believe that they hear something speaking to them.
Sure. So why do you care?
Because I want rational justifications for claims that people make.
What if I have no rational justification for my foot hurting?
You don't need it because it just observations are just brute facts.
There you go.
But your observations are different from you claiming
Okay, so
that something outside of your
I think I'm
observation
not
exists.
explaining myself very well. So let me try to reframe this. I'm not trying to say that people saying that they talk to God proves that God exists. However, I'm saying that when people report their experiences, those are in fact their experiences. Does that mean that if someone sees and talks to God, that that's proof of a higher power? No, but that does prove that their experiences are valid. And how can you, as an outside observer, comment on another person's experiences and the value of it when you're not experiencing it yourself?
Because there are mutually contradictory experiences. So either one person is wrong or both of them are wrong. And I know that there's are other explanations for those
Who would have a
experiences.
better knowledge of if my foot hurts, me or you?
You.
Exactly. So who would have a better knowledge of if they have a relationship with God? The person saying that they do, or you?
Uh, they don't necessarily have any better knowledge that it is in fact a God.
But they have knowledge of the benefits in their experience.
But there are people who have phantom pains, and we can diagnose that.
Phantom pain still hurt.
Yeah, but it might not be the result of an injury. So
Once again, we're going back. Okay,
Gary Priestley has been praying for your foot to heal. Does it feel any better?
I'm going to go back to my first point from the very beginning of the debate. Um, there's a difference between sex and masturbation. Yes, correct?
For some people.
However, even if you're masturbating and you're not having sex with somebody, you're still experiencing an orgasm.
Yes.
So are you saying masturbation is inherently valueless?
No. But
There you
there's a
go.
reason mental masturbation is kind of an insult because it's just vapid and shallow.
Yeah, well, calling somebody is also an insult, so that's not necessarily relevant.
Calling someone what?
A beep.
A hoe?
No, I can't say it because it's a cuss word.
You can say it.
Are we live?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What about this?
Yay! I love that. That's so cute. Where'd you get that?
The internet.
I want one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we've been doing this for an hour. Maybe we should call it quits.
Are you ready to concede
No,
already?
I won. Even though all your atheist friends in the chat are saying I lost, I don't care. I have faith that I won. So.
Oh, Gary says masturbation is self-sex. You're having sex with yourself.
There you go.
Do you think a hand job is sex?
I don't feel like we're on topic anymore.
It's all related.
How do we end this?
Well, do you want to give a closing statement?
Suck my dick.
That is sex. Okay,
What's your closing statement?
Chat, put in any questions. If you do, would you be opposed to answering some chat questions?
Yeah, I'm kind of over this.
What? Okay. Well, thank you for coming on. Well, we'll let people know a little bit about our project. We're trying to start a debate club where we're hopefully going to
monkey philosophy.
what?
Did you see what stupid monkey philosophy said?
You both won. I'm masturbating right now. That
Okay, that's hilarious.
we can hope for no better.
I'm so proud of you, stupid monkey. That's exactly what we're here for.
Yes.
Yep.
Monkeys do like to do that. Anyway, stupid monkey philosophy. You can come join us at. We are creating a new debate club / channel called Debate Cafe, and that's going to be centered more around formal debates, so even more formal than what you saw here tonight.
Yeah, this was really not formal, but it was fun.
Yeah. And usually one of us is probably going to be moderating someone else. But yeah. And if you have... Oh, I'll put your channel info in the description. And if you have any concluding remarks, go ahead. Nothing?
Oh, thanks for everybody who watched. I can't believe you guys watched that.
Yeah, some people eventually come in.
I hope we were entertaining for you guys. Thanks for giving us your time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks Rudy. He says he enjoys atheist versus agnostic debate. Lord Pasta says preponderance of data suggests that prayer has no physical effects. That's the current consensus. So yes, you were actually prepared. But I think the general evidence shows otherwise, but I'll have to bring the receipts next time.
Do you want me to send a link to the website that I got this info from?
Yes.
I will.
And yeah, so you can just fuck off wherever you came from. And then I'll play our channel trailer for anyone who's still interested. And then I'll call it quits myself.
That was fun. Cool.
Yes.
All right. Are we still live?
Yeah, and I'll be posting this over on the other channel too.
Okay. How do I post it on my channel with like the 30 subscribers?
I'll send you the file. I'll probably edit down the part where I had my mic turned off, but yeah.
Okay. Are we allowed to swear, or is that going to get us like an 18+ rating if we do that? I feel like I cussed a lot.
It's too late now. I'm not monetized anyway.
Soon we're going to make like $5. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to buy so much candy.
$5 a month.
Wow. We're going to be rich.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy mascara.
Mascara?
Yeah.
Is it edible?
I'm sure...
Edible mascara?
Ew. Yes.
I think all the profits should be spent on candy or something edible.
I'm pretty sure all mascara is edible, right? If we were monetized, yeah, if we were monetized, I'd probably eat some mascara for money right now, but yeah. I don't think we're monetized yet, so
I've been eating it, so it better be edible. All right. Well, okay. Thank you for coming on. And yeah, you can just leave whenever. I'll handle it from my side.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, this is already 18+. Bye.
Bye.
And here is the anticipated trailer for our new channel. It's repurposed from one of my old channels that I uploaded a Star Wars prequel edit thing, and it got like 500,000 views, and so I have 1,000 subscribers on that channel, but no watch hours now because that video got taken down, so we still can't monetize that, but we'll try. we'll see what's up. So, again, that's going to be focused more on formal debating. We're going to actually do debate tournaments on that, but here's the trailer.
Oh my. Neat.
Okay, so Scavar 4000 said, is that how you pronounce it? Stay away from flat Earth BS debates. Well, sorry to disappoint, but I have a flat Earth debate this Friday against Witsit Gets It, which was my original flat Earth video victim. But I haven't debated him yet. I've been wanting to do that. So that is, I'll be looking forward to that quite a bit. And so I will post the links. Yeah, I'm getting to it. It's hard to talk at the same time as getting links. So yeah, if anyone else has questions, Cinematic Psychology is her channel. She just posted in the chat, so you could probably click on her name there. Let me see. Where is my history tab? There we go. Okay. And I will also link the debate channel as well. And if you're still watching, she's calling me right now. I'm still streaming. Where's your channel? Where is your channel? Okay.
This video.
1 second, guys. I will have the links in less than 2 seconds. Actually, probably more than that. But yeah, that was fun. And so we're going to be focusing more, again, on formal debates. Time debates, they're going to be a little shorter, kind of rapid fire. But the ultimate goal is to get a debate tournament going. And we might have some sort of prize for the debate winners. Okay, so now the links are in the description. And let me also post it in the chat, just in case anyone else is still here. And does anyone have any questions? I will stay on just to answer some questions, but I'll be wrapping up pretty soon. I'm going as fast as I can, Gary. There. Everyone subscribe to her channel. If you don't, I'll hunt you down and give you a good talking to. And that is our debate community channel. It used to be called Star Wars Cafe. Now it's Debate Cafe. So There you go. I think the link will change eventually because I changed the name today. But yeah. So, haven't streamed in a while, so I forgot that my mic was off. So I will remember that next time. And how do we schedule debates for that channel? I'm going to just email me at Snake Was Right for now, but I'm going to set up probably right now, right after this, I'll set up a like a Google Excel sheet or something for people to sign up for that. So yeah, and I'll email around too to all my contacts. I'll let you guys know. But yes, hit the bell. I dropped a video yesterday. It's real short. So watch that. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do your homework, and yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for joining us. I can't thank you enough. And dog bless.